Ryan and Brennish Thompson are an award-winning father-son duo who play many different instruments. Their musical styles include Cajun, Appalachian, Celtic, and international. And we are pleased to welcome you here today. Enjoy the show.
We'll start off with one of our favorite tunes, just kind of an old Appalachian tune. Imagine like the rolling green hills and the moonshine with the XXX on it. It's kind of got that vibe. It's an old, it's really a moonshine making tune called Polly's Mountain Kettle.
And then when my son Brennish plays his violin, it's pointing out that direction. He's playing a standard right-handed violin. I'm playing a left-handed violin. We have a lefty back there? Yes.
We have a lot of unusual things going on here. So anyone who's a little studious might notice that his violin also has 5 strings. Anybody who maybe played the violin when they're younger, or maybe even plays now, would know violins normally have 4 strings. This is a 4-string violin. As you also, another weird thing, I'm strapped in. So this is a kind of a funny little thing. We have a bunch of little tweaks and things we're doing to get some of these weird sounds we're making. We're a little bit non-traditional, playing traditional music. You go here.
Well, I guess we can go a totally different direction now.
Sure.
So we're going to do a tune on the jaw harp
Sure.
and the banjo. looks like.
So we like playing a lot of stuff from all over the place. We kind of are collectors of instruments.
Which jaw harp do you have?
I have D or C, whatever's easier.
D or C? Okay. C. I can do either one, whichever one.
Let's do C then.
C? Okay. Go ahead.
So we play a lot of different things, and our house is kind of a little bit of a museum, shrine, if you will, to weird instruments. And this is not an exception. This little instrument right here, I don't know, does anybody here recognize this? Put up a hand if you've seen one of these before, okay? A few folks have seen these. This is an Appalachian jaw harp. It's otherwise known as a Jew's harp, or it's called a trump in some places, and they have, in Thailand there are dun moi, and there's ones in China, and pretty much every culture has some version of this thing. It's a fairly simple concept, but you can't possibly guess what it does by looking at it. Essentially, you have these two forks, and you have this thing called the tongue, this little flexible metal piece. And when it moves between these two forks, in between, it makes a vibration, kind of like a plucking a rubber band. And then I use my head as a speaker. I'm pushed up against my teeth. And if you never played one of these before, be careful if you decide to go out and buy one. I've chipped multiple teeth learning how to use this thing. But it's got a very interesting sound. I'll give you just a little so you can hear it real quick. Kind of sounds like a broken, AC unit or something.
That's scary.
Let's give it a go here. Play a little old-time tune.
We're going to play a tune called Spotted Pony. It's a North Carolina tune, and
yeah.
How's that sound?
Swimmer, it's good for building up lung endurance.
I noticed you were turning a little pink there while you were breathing.
Oh yeah. When I was first learning when I was a little kid, I would lose my air often in the middle of it, and I'd almost pass out routinely.
So are you blowing into that thing at the same time?
Yeah, so I'm blowing in and out in order to produce different tones and to boost the volume. So I'm also changing the width of my mouth to change the pitch. If I was playing into a mic, you'd hear the different pitches a little more. But some people play them more like a rhythm instrument, kind of like what I was doing. Some people they have 3 octaves and they can play weird notes, and you can make vowels with it too. Anything you can do with an open mouth, you can play through it, kind of like a kazoo.
And Brennish teaches classes in that. So in a couple of weeks, we're going down to Pennsylvania, and we're going to be teaching at a place called the Folk College, and it's a weekend event for people that take classes in playing all these different instruments. And every year he does a class in jaw harps. We bring down a big box of jaw harps, and you get like 25 people all playing jaw harps.
It's an interesting sound. 25 jaw harps in a single room.
I can't see. I'll give you my name.
Oh, it's not on your phone whistle.
It won't be. That was working.
Oh, it's mine, never mind. Yeah, it's fine. Yep,
Got it? So we're just going to change around to different instruments, and then we'll go back to some of the ones that we played to begin with. We're going to do a set of Irish jigs, and 3 jigs, and we're going to do it in a set of 3, just like we would do in an Irish pub, like in Ireland or in Boston or even over in Portsmouth, or maybe right here. I'm not sure if there are sessions right in this area, but there probably are.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to do a tune called Out on the Ocean, and then a tune called Joy of My Life, and those are traditional Irish jigs from way back. Nobody knows who composed them. And then the last tune, it's one of my own tunes, and I call it The Flywheel.
It's a great tune.
Because it reminds me of a flywheel. So we're going to do those as a set.
Good. All right. come from a lot of Irish background, and we have a lot of Scottish background in our family. I know I grew up playing a lot of Irish music down in Watertown in Boston. We played for the Cayleys every week, and it was just a real treat, a blast. All these tunes are kind of in our heads, and I'm sure some of the things we'll play, people will sort of recognize. A lot of them are played locally too throughout the years here. We love that stuff. What are you thinking now?
I'm just thinking that we're pretty close to Derry and Londonderry, and a long time ago I did some research. You know how sometimes we look at genealogical research and we try to find our relatives, and I traced back from my grandmother on my mother's side, and I went way back, and I found out that she was related to a woman named Joan Roan, who was born in Londonderry in around in the 1650s. One of the first kids that was born there, Joan Roan, related directly to my grandmother, which was kind of interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
we had a lot of music in the family going back to, and the wagon trains and things. We have some instruments in the Smithsonian, a hammered dulcimer and a fiddle. Hopefully one day maybe they'll let us play one of them.
So we're going to get off the accordion. Get off the ring guns. Well, I don't know. Maybe we do that, and maybe we'll do both.
Okay.
So I'm going to do a tune that I composed for my nephew, Sean, and when he was about 5 or 6 years old, my brother bought him one of those little miniature accordions. It's kind of like a toy, but actually they kind of make music, and he played on it a little bit. So I composed the tune in honor of my nephew, Sean, playing the accordion. So I call it Sean's Squeezebox. Sean is kind of like a Celtic name, but the tune that I composed is a tune in the sort of the tradition of what they call Tex-Mex music from Texas, and it's in that style.
Funny enough, the video of him playing that little miniature accordion on YouTube, I think, has the most views out of anything we've ever uploaded. It's got like 500,000 views.
Yeah, we got an awful lot of views on YouTube.
And they're all from other countries too. It's interesting.
Mostly from South America, which is really interesting. A lot of from Brazil.
Yeah. Tex-Mex.
So I saw your polka party T-shirt, so that kind of made me thinking about doing that too.
You want to do a Cajun tune?
Yeah. Do you want to do? I could sing something.
Yeah, whatever you want.
Okay.
You can see we're just hanging out. kitchen Kaylee experience.
Let's see here. What am I going to sing? How about Jambalaya?
Sure.
Okay. Good old Cajun song. Hank Williams got the credit for writing this song, Jambalaya, which was about Cajuns and Cajun life, but there's some controversy that maybe somebody else he wrote it. Somebody else wrote it and he borrowed the words, but...
There's certainly about 100 Cajun tunes that share the same melody, pretty much.
It's a good old song about two people falling in love on the bayou. Goodbye, Joe, me gotta go, me on my own. Gotta go for my bayou, down bayou. My bun, sweetest one, me on my own. Son, gonna have big fun on the bayou. Oh, jambalaya, from the high, really gumbo. Oh, tonight I'm gonna see my share meal. Have noticed, maybe not, but I'm wearing a hat here and it's got Chinese characters on it, and I got that in Beijing, China, and we've had 3 tours over in China so far, and I have to tell you, they like all the music we play. They like jambalaya and they like the jigs and the reels, and
they love music in general in China.
Yeah, we lived there last May and really enjoyed being over there. So we were going to go up on the Great Wall. And we thought that'd be a lot of fun to go up on the Great Wall. So we had a tour guide that was taking us to the wall so we could climb the wall. And we got there, and it stretches way up into the hills. You know, it goes for, as you know, it goes for thousands of miles. But what we could see was several miles of it going up over these mountain ranges. And the guy said, "Okay, you guys are from America. I'm gonna buy you some admission tickets so that you can take the gondola up. It's a gondola like in a ski area. You can take the gondola up." And we said, "Well, no, we don't want to take a gondola up. We want to walk up." And he said, "No, you can't do that. You know, and then we see the steps and we see people walking up, and we said, no, we want to walk up."
It was a foreign concept for us, for Americans.
For Americans, so somehow we wouldn't want to walk. And so
basically couldn't walk.
So he went to all the trouble to get in line to go buy tickets, and I said, "I'm sorry, we're walking." So we did. So we went up about 1,200 feet, which was fun. But, you know, it took over a couple hours, and beautiful view, and took pictures. And I bought this hat at the top. There's a little gift store up there.
Funny enough, we actually got up there before the tour guide and their crew got up to the top, simply by walking.
That's pretty good.
So.
But anyway, it's just kind of interesting. We really like the food over there. We got some really nice people.
I can play guitar on something if you want.
Well, you want to follow the list, or do you just want to go off?
What do you want to do?
Okay, well, let's see. You want to sing a song?
I could try something. You want?
Yeah, or we could play some tunes. Or we could do the third thing, on the thing that's after that.
Sure, go for that.
Okay.
Go for that, and then I'll sing something.
And we're saying this and that, and people don't know what we're saying, but we're trying to play a little bit on all the different instruments.
We love to study music from all over. We're really into dance music, so things you can dance to. That was jambalaya. You can two-step to that, and these other tunes you can do square dancing and contra and whatnot. So we like to kind of incorporate all these various styles and things, and one of these very related things is percussion. We both play a few different kinds of things. He'll pull out something, probably, I was talking about the jaw harp being a very old instrument. It's all over many countries. This is like 3/8 by 10,000 years, at least. We could tell you a little bit about these.
So some of you probably know what these are, and for those that you don't, they're called bones, and they're a rhythm instrument. And I have two different sets of them here. One is made out of some sort of a wood from South America, and this friend of mine that's a cabinet maker saw me playing them and some bones, and he said, "Well, I'll make you some out of this really nice wood that he had in his shop." And then this set here is made out of, I believe they're made out of antlers, deer antlers, I'm pretty sure. And they both have a really different sound, and they're a lot of fun to play. So we're just going to have to play something. There's some kind of a reel.
So I'll play a tune called Save the Ham in honor of Bones.
sometimes we go into schools and we teach kids how to do this. It's really fun. The kids really have a lot of fun with it. It's basically just two curved pieces of material, and you hold them together, and then you put your fingers up through the top to hold them, and then the one that's closest to your thumb, you bend a finger over, and that one doesn't move at all. So one of them doesn't move. The other one moves a little bit, kind of like there's a rubber band pulling it close to the other one. So you kind of tighten up your fingers so there's a little bit of tension like that. And then when you get going, you can go as fast or slow as you want. This is a lot of fun. I just want to keep playing them. There's an international organization, that the Rhythm Bone Society, and they have annual events every year. And this year they were in New Hampshire. And so we provided backup music for all the people that played the bones.
That was a unique experience.
This is very fun. This is the Bear Cage. What's the name of it?
Oh, we were in, oh gosh, Clark's Trading Post.
Yeah, anybody been up there to the Bear Cage? Oh yeah, okay.
So we were in the Bear Cage, which again, interesting.
All the people sitting outside the Bear Cage.
Yeah, that was a circus. That was definitely a circus. That was an enjoyable circus. So I thought I'd sing something here. I don't really know it, so I have my nefarious device, and I'm going to use it for my own safety. It's a good old song. I say good old. It's not very old, and it's not very good. It's very sad about the coal miners in West Virginia and kind of their plight. It's pretty dire right there right now, and there's a lot going on, and a lot of this music that we're playing, especially those first tunes we played, come from that area. So this is kind of a little bit into their mind. Sit down, buddy, and we'll drink and smoke. Woman, don't you weep for me. My hands can't fiddle and my heart's been broke. You damned old piney mountain. Lost my fingers in a Galax mill. Buddy, sing a sad old song, and my heart got broke in the Yukon hills. Lordy, my time ain't long. Started out logging when I was in my prime. Woman, don't you weep for me. Hitching up the spruce to the big drag lines. You damned old piney mountain. Where the skidders start a-bucking and the years come down. Buddy, sing a sad old song, making God's old thunder on the new cut ground. Lordy, my time ain't long. We was fighting over nothing and drinking too hard. Woman, don't you weep for me. Riding up to camp on the flat-wheeled car. You damned old piney mountain. 30 years of hanging on the old chain break. Buddy, sing a sad old song. Laid off and paid off in 58. Lordy, my time ain't long. And the skidders got sold to the scrap iron yard. Woman, don't you weep for me. I moved down to Virginia when the times got hard. You damn old pine mountain. Lost my fingers to a steel bandsaw. Buddy, sing a sad old song. Now my fiddle just hangs untuned on the wall. Lordy, my time ain't long. And the trees have grown up on the logging road. Woman, don't you weep for me. And the wildflowers bloom where the big shades blow. You damn old piney mountain. There's nothing left for me but to drink and smoke. Buddy, sing a sad old song. My hands can't fiddle and my heart's been broke. Lordy, my time ain't long.
That's a good one. I've never heard you sing that before.
Yeah, Yeah, neither have I. Good song though, I like that one.
Well, let's play a tune from down south.
Yeah, we'll kind of follow up with something in a similar vein. We'll go to G.
Yeah.
So every year we spend quite a lot of time down in the West Virginia, North Carolina area. We love that music down there. Strap in real quick.
You want to do what I think you're going to do?
Breaking Up Christmas?
Yeah. So we're going to do a tune called, it's a square dance tune, it's called Breaking Up Christmas. And what it has to do with, down in North Carolina, especially back in the 1920s and the 1930s, people lived in little towns or small towns, and they were separated by geography, and people got together and played fiddle and banjo together and danced and things. And so at Christmas time, they'd have a lot of fun, and they'd celebrate the Christmas, and they'd maybe play some music. And then the day after Christmas, they said, well, we got to do some more. So they go over to somebody else's house, everybody together, and they do it again. And then they said, well, that was so much fun. What's his name? He's got a pretty big living room. If we got all the furniture out of there, we'd have room to do a square dance. So they do that. So Christmas would extend over a number of days, and that's where the term breaking up Christmas comes from. It's a North Carolina term.
You gotta shake all that joy out of your system real
Yeah,
quick.
so you can keep on. So we're going to do a tune called Breaking Up Christmas. We have a little more room here, we can have a square dance.
It's probably also about the right time to mention that we're in the middle of recording an old-time album, and we're reviving some old albums that he recorded years and years back, and we're adding guitar and things to it. We have some of our tracks and albums and things over there, and if you put your email down on our little clipboard, we'll keep you on our mailing list when those records come out, and they should be fun. This will probably be one of the tunes on it.
And also places where we're going to be playing. So.
Yeah, and concerts and things, I'll let you know.